Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Ah, man, I don't even know where to begin with this episode. First of all, I want to kind of apologize. I want to apologize, um, for coming out so late. Um, I know it came on around 3 o'clock today, but there was an interruption when I got home around 7 something. I started trying to watch it, and like 3 minutes in, it was a news interruption. So I had to pretty much wait till 8 o'clock before they to drop it on Hulu. So going into this episode, you know it kind of got me a little annoyed. All right, so Maxie is still just believing the worst, and Liesel. Here's the thing, granted, even Robert pretty much said so in the episode. It's not as though Liesel's hands are clean. She's not totally innocent. She's done shit in the past. She's done shit recently. Hell, she's literally tried to burn Peter alive. After she tortured him and held him captured for a whole week. So I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm not knocking Peter for what he's doing, because, I mean, she pretty much fucked him over for a good week and a half, and then tried to manipulate him into not only going free, but to get a job with her, as at the magazine. So I don't knock Peter's plan. I really don't. My issue is the people that are doubting her. Franco, which is her only friend, is literally doubting her. Why the hell would why the hell would she want to sit there and kill you? You're literally the only friend that she has. And I get the whole self-preservation thing, but this whole thing just doesn't add up. And I can't believe that Franco's even sitting there believing it. But, yeah, so Liesel is, Maxie is still sitting there talking to Peter at, Anna's house. And, Anna is just filled with so much guilt that she's just like, oh, well, Liesel's a bad seed and she's a bad person. And in my head, I'm like, oh my fucking goodness, please shut up. Full disclosure, I'm not really a big fan of Anna. But even I'm just like, with this whole thing, it's like, this is more of her guilt that just keeps me to saying, well, Liesel's a bad person. You just gotta sit there and talk to Liesel. Because she's sitting there asking, like, well, what should I sit there and do? What should I sit there and tell James about her missing her grandmother? She said Oma or something like that. I can't pronounce it, but her grandmother. What am I gonna sit there and tell James? And Anna's like, oh, well, just tell him the truth. Why don't you just talk to Liesel and just get out all your anger and stuff like that, and, unburden yourself? And I'm like, ugh, seriously? Like, I get that Peter's your son, but you are literally throwing somebody in jail for something that she didn't actually commit, just because you feel guilty and you partly want to sit there and save your son at any and all costs. So that's pretty much how that scene went when the three of them was together. Let's see. Let's look over the notes. 1 second. So, okay. Nina, for some odd reason, started trying to compare herself to Nell and started trying to defend Nell. I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Now, granted, she kept saying, is she capable, with Jack, she was like, is she capable of love? How do you know she's not capable of love? She's had a really rough past, this, that, and the third, and I'm just like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So, Jax is sitting there trying to basically say, listen, this is why Nella's a bad person, and, she's riding to the core, she's only using her son to get what she wants, and Jax is like, where the hell is this coming from? And Nina pretty much is just saying, listen, I had a dark past, and, if you're going to accept me, you're going to have to accept the whole of me. Because, prior episode, she had a conversation with Valentine, and Valentine's like, listen, I hope that he can accept you, the good, the bad, and everything all together, because Jack seems like a good guy. He sees everything in black and white, as opposed to me and you. that sees stuff in all different shades of gray. And I hope that, he's cool with your dark side pretty much. So that's pretty much what prompted her to talk about how she's so much like Nell, and how she's not always a good person, and Jax just does his Prince Charming, and makes her just kind of just sees the light in some sort of fashion. Because Nina's just like, listen, I don't want to be put on a pedestal because I tend to fall off those shits. Just full disclosure. Now, let's go real quick into Laura and Valentine. And listen, here's the thing. I get that Laura doesn't like Valentine because, okay, you didn't kill her son, but you tried to kill her son. So, with that being said, I completely understand where she's coming from. And, she's Smith trying to defend Lulu as far as, her daughter and making sure her daughter is happy, this, that, and the third, and how Valentine always makes her unhappy, and blah, 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 blah. So, she comes out her mouth, and, in the beginning, she even agreed that, Lulu, you need to kind of set your differences aside because, like it or not, Charlotte loves her father. And now she's all in this whole, well, I don't think you're good for Charlotte, this, that, and the third. And I'm just like, wow, okay. First of all, screw you, Laura. Regardless of what you think, she loves her father and her father loves her. And just because you're gonna side with Lulu, and even Valentine was like, yo, Lulu has made plenty of mistakes, and it just goes right over fucking Laura's head as though she didn't make any mistakes. And Laura knows that Lulu made mistakes when she first tried to start connecting with Charlotte, but for whatever reason, that shit just went over her head. I'm sorry for this whole kind of angry rant, but this shit just kind of, so basically Laura's like, whoa, you're not good for Charlotte, this, that, and the third. And, Valentine was like, well, listen, I disagree. You need to tell your daughter to drop this whole custody case and stop putting Charlotte in the middle of it because it's not doing her any good. And just abide by the fucking custody rules. So, okay, let's go back a little bit. Kind of going all over the place a little bit. So, so Maxie goes to see Liesel in jail, and Maxie's all like, well, she comes out of nowhere. And she's like, well, you need to admit what you did was wrong. You need to sit there and admit to your crimes. And I'm just like, in my head, along with probably everyone else, why the fuck would she actually admit to some shit that she didn't do? Yeah, when she was talking to Maxie, she was like, listen, I've done terrible, terrible things. This is not one of them. So she's like, in her head, why the fuck would I admit to some shit that I didn't do? And Maxie's all like, well, if you throw yourself into the mercy of the courts, they'll be lenient on you. They'll be lenient on you. Right, Robert? And Robert's like, well, kind of harsher than regular jail. I can't make that promise. And she's all like, well, just take responsibility. Then she comes out her mouth and says some shit that I was just like, wow, Maxie. I can't wait till the truth comes out and Maxie feels like shit because I will not feel bad for her whatsoever. She came out and she was like, well, why don't you do it for Nathan? You brung her dead son into this whole fucking conversation because you're that angry with Liesel. You brung her dead son. I don't even know where to begin on the level of how fucked up that shit was. And so Liesel was like, listen, on my dead son's life, I didn't do this shit. And of course Maxie storms off because here's the thing, for all of Maxie's great things that I do like like about her. Let's just go back to the time when she was going to marry that guy Levi, who pretty much fucked her over in a custody case when she was with Nathan at the time, and who held her at gunpoint. So, she's not exactly the wisest person when it comes to us making decisions. So she storms off and she goes back to the house and she pretty much just says to Peter, what am I going to do? What am I going to tell James? And of course, that idiot Anna is just like, well, you could just sit there and tell him the truth. Tell him that you still have us. You still have family. That okay, let's just try to move on from that because, yeah. So Dustin is just caught in the middle, and I feel bad for Dustin because, Lulu, you know, is arguing with Brooklyn. Now, granted, I generally sometimes I do take Brooklyn's side, but Brooklyn comes out her mouth and says some ignorant shit, pretty much saying, "Oh well, Dante had PTSD and you couldn't be bothered." Really, bitch? Because you really don't know the whole story, and you coming out your mouth, you literally coming out of pocket, Smith is saying that Lulu couldn't handle it, when it was further from the truth. When Dante chose to leave, and regardless of how many times Lulu said, "I want to fight for this marriage, I want this marriage to work," Dante was like, "No, this isn't gonna work." So for her to come out her mouth and not know the whole story and pretty much just blaming Lulu for her marriage ending was just and I generally side with sometimes, I've been siding with Brooklyn, but she was dead ass wrong about that. Now, so Lulu was upset, and I get that, but Lulu was about to sit there and start trying. She was like, "Yo, we need to take this shit outside." I was like, "Alright." But then, Brooklyn said some fucked up shit, and then Lulu was like, "All right, we going at it right now." And Dustin had to get in the middle. It was like, "Yo, listen," and it had to cool both of them off. Like, "Yo, Brooklyn, you need to just stop with you provoking her." And Lulu, "Yo, do you not remember the last time that got into a fight and stuff like that, and you pretty much with Lulu, she was Dustin was like, 'Yo, you pretty much." Said you was sorry. Are you taking that shit back? Like, what are you doing? And Brooklyn, didn't you not just get into a fight not that long ago and your ass is in the tabloids already? Like, what are you doing? So, he set both of them straight. I think because Brooklyn was making little flirty comments, calling him Dusty and talking about how we're gonna write some beautiful music together, and Lulu wasn't having that, and I understand where she's coming from. But Dustin was just kind of caught in the middle, so yeah. They were about to fight, and so Lulu left, and Dustin has a conversation with Brooklyn, pretty much that they're saying, you need to just kind of let the world see you for who you are. Now, full disclosure, Brooklyn did kind of unload on Dustin about the shit that Lulu did. Now, go back just a little bit of a history lesson. Pretty much Brooklyn blamed Lulu and Dante for getting Michael sent to prison because of the shit that happened with Claudia. And basically Smith is saying, well, Dante was a cop, so it was his idea, what I'm saying, like he was kind of like forced into doing it, but Lulu kind of pushed and went along with that, even though you knew Michael's family. And once again, she just pretty much, a lot of times, and I'm not gonna lie, this is the second time that I can remember that she chose to throw family under the bus because she felt she was doing the right thing. Because I think that Lulu was like, "Yo, you remember that time that you tried to seduce my boyfriend and having sex with you?" To Dustin, and that's when Brooklyn told her version of what happened, and of course she admitted what she did, and Dustin was like, "Listen, you need to kind of let down your walls and stop being such a bully, because that's what you're coming across as. Let the world see you for who you are." And you know, after that, they was like, you know, just gonna write music or whatever. Um, so Lulu goes to the court. Lulu goes to the Metro Court, and she sees her mother and Valentine's talking, and Lulu out her ass comes out and says, "Valentine, leave my mother alone." And I'm like, bitch, what are you talking about? They were both sitting down, they were both having a conversation. Why the hell would you just come out of nowhere and just target Valentine and saying Valentine is doing something wrong when they're both planting their asses down? Why? Because Lulu was still pissed off at fucking Brooklyn and decided I need to take out my anger and frustration on Valentine just cuz. Um, and of course, you know, Valentine leaves and Lulu and Laura had to talk about what's pissed her off so much. Um and so yeah, that happened. Uh, I'm just kind of go over my notes real quick. Oh, by the way, Britt left. Um she went to Boston. She got a better offer. So she's left. Which is kind of a shame because I mean, granted, from what I heard, she was kind of a train wreck and kind of a person that I probably wouldn't want to watch. In her heyday with Patrick, but having her come back seemed pretty interesting, and I want to see where her story was gonna go. But yeah, so that didn't happen. And I guess they kind of wrote off the show for a little bit. Sucks. This is what one of the things that Peter and Anna was talking about, along with Peter talking about how he has a good life, and Anna talking about how she's congratulating him on being a better person, and you know, Peter's just like, I'm gonna fight for my rights and just fight, you know, for everything that I have, and Anna's just like, good job. And here's the thing, I don't blame again Peter for what he's doing to Lisa, because let's be honest, she kind of deserves it, for what she did to Peter. So I don't knock Peter and his plan, but Anna is just being so guilt ridden, and you know, plus her whole history with Liesel, she's just like, yo, I'm throwing this dude in jail. I'm throwing her in jail, and I just don't care. And my son's a good person, and you're a bad person. He's being so that's pretty much where that's going. I don't think there's really anything else to talk about. Yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it about it. That's gonna wrap it up for this quick recap review, I guess. Sorry it came out so late. But there was a news interruption and it didn't come on to 8 o'clock, so unfortunately this is the time that I have to do it. Hopefully these interruptions won't be lasting, and after Tuesday I'll be back on my regular schedule. I'll put these reviews out a lot sooner. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for watching it. I really hope to see you in the next recap review. And just be safe, and next time.